In this video, I will be reacting to 15 minutes of WWE facts. I am actually curious to learn the 15 facts, 15 minutes of facts. I've been a long life watcher of WWE. I stopped watching, I ain't gonna lie. But 2025, I might start watching once again. So if you're new around here, you wanna go ahead and subscribe.
Why do wrestlers sometimes place their hands on their opponent's butt? The term for this is checking the oil, or simply an oil check. It's a joke that mainly old school wrestlers would do during a match. Andre the Giant was famous for checking the oil on many of the men who fought him.
Why?
WWE facts that don't seem real.
Okay.
Kelly, who's 37 until 24, is younger than Charlotte Flair.
Yo, no wonder she doesn't perform as much anymore. I'm like, where is Charlotte Flair nowadays?
Who's 38. Jeff Hardy has never won a tables, ladders, and chairs match. Before Kane debuted in 1997, there was a wrestler in WCW also called Kane.
Dude.
Ironically, both Kanes would be associated with Fire, as WCW's Kane was one half of the tag team Harlem Heat. Arn Anderson retired from his in-ring career before the age of 40. Jake the Snake never won any championships in WWE or WCW. The word for
We're learning a lot here, man. 15 minutes is probably gonna go fast.
dinner in Spanish is Cena, so John Cena's name translates to John Dinner. Did you know that WWE wrestlers have to get permission before getting tattoos? This has led some wrestlers to find creative ways around this rule. Alexa Bliss had white ink tattoos done on her arm so that she could cover them up with makeup. When Rhea Ripley was new to WWE, she had tattoos added to her legs without getting permission. To avoid getting in trouble, Ripley wore long pants to cover them up. There's a secret perk that only world champion WWE wrestlers get. Once a wrestler wins one of WWE's world championships, the company will always give him a first class seat on a plane.
I heard this recently.
And if the plane doesn't offer first class, the company will purchase 2 regular tickets so the world champ has an empty seat next to him.
Wow.
This perk does not extend to the Intercontinental, US, or less prestigious champions. Additionally, once a wrestler loses the world title, this perk goes away.
Damn.
Wrestlers who got rid of their WWE Hall of Fame ring. Superstar Billy Graham got upset when Vince McMahon said the WWE would never make a physical Hall of Fame and it only existed in his head. Graham responded by selling his Hall of Fame ring on eBay for $11,500. Abdullah the Butcher sold his Hall of Fame ring in 2023 because he was broke. The ring was put on eBay and listed at $20,000. In 2016, Sunny threw her Hall of Fame ring on eBay, saying that after 5 years, it was time for someone else to cherish it. The ring was later sold for over $5,000. What happened to Batista's head? Fans have noticed wrinkles on the animal's head, and while Batista hasn't publicly addressed it, there are 2 likely reasons. The first is from Batista's wrestling days. To bleed in WWE, wrestlers do what's called blading, which involves taking a small razor blade and cutting their head. This can lead to scarring, and Batista has been known for breaking the rules in order to bleed during matches. However, another possible reason for the wrinkles is cutis verticis gyrata, or bulldog scalp syndrome. It's a rare skin condition that causes a person's scalp to develop deep furrows and convoluted folds that resemble a bulldog's skin folds. There are 2 tapes in the WWE video library with a label that says, "Never to be viewed, never to be erased." The first tape is from the infamous Over the Edge 1999 pay-per-view. During the event, wrestler Owen Hart was meant to be lowered from the arena ceiling into the ring. However, the harness snapped and he fell to his death. Fans watching at home didn't see the fall, but cameras captured the horrible incident. The first forbidden tape contains the raw footage of Owen Hart's fall. The second tape contains footage of another disturbing incident. During a 1999 SmackDown event, wrestlers Draws and D'Lo Brown fought in what was supposed to be a normal match. However, when D'Lo went for a running powerbomb, Draws landed on his head and neck. While Draws did survive, he was left paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Damn, I didn't know about this.
While the match wasn't broadcast live, cameras still recorded the entire thing, and the footage has been preserved on the second forbidden tape.
There's probably more.
WWE facts that'll mess with your perception of time. The PG era, which has been going on for nearly 16 years, is now longer than the TV-14 era, which lasted 11 years. In 2025, WWE will have been called WWE for the same amount of time the company was called WWF. 23 years. AJ Styles is the same age as John Cena, and both will turn 47 years old in 2024.
Damn.
Damian Priest, on the other hand, will be 42 years old in 2024. Terry Funk had his first wrestling match the same year The Undertaker was born, 1965. However, Funk had his last match only 3 years before Undertaker had his final match. Here's what WWE is like in different countries. During certain WWE broadcasts in the United Kingdom, a person would appear on screen to communicate in sign language for viewers who are hearing impaired. In India, WWE would re-edit their shows so that the Great Khali's match would be in the main event. In Italy,
Yo, that's smart.
WWE shows were edited to be less violent, and if a match had blood, the entire section might be removed.
No wonder I see random videos on YouTube. Like this happens where like it freezes. Next thing you know, next second is them already in the floor or bleeding, or it just turns to black screen. I don't know.
In the 1980s and 90s, WWE had a show called Superstars. However, it was renamed to Maple Leaf Wrestling in Canada.
Welcome everyone to Maple Leaf Wrestling!
The reason was that the Canadian government requires TV stations to broadcast a certain amount of Canadian content. Even though there was little to no Canadian content in WWE Superstars, simply calling the show Maple Leaf Wrestling was enough for the show to count towards the requirement. Seth Rollins almost passed out right before a match. At WrestleMania 35, Rollins was taking on Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Seth was rightfully amped up for the match, but it nearly led to him collapsing during his entrance.
But there's like a moment where I'm drifting kind of back to the center of the ramp, and I'm just glossed over because when you get so fired up, it's that feeling like when you've been laying down or sitting down for too long, and you stand up and you get lightheaded. That's what I had, and it was to the point where you start kind of going whoa, 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 and I recovered just in time to walk down the ramp.
WWE tricked you into thinking The Rock was taller than he actually is. During backstage interviews, The Rock always appeared taller than the person interviewing him, even when he was standing next to a male interviewer like Jonathan Coachman. However, The Rock and Coachman would later appear on ESPN SportsCenter together, and it was clear that WWE had been deceiving fans for years, as Coachman was actually taller than The Rock. This is the most wholesome thing a WWE wrestler did for a fellow wrestler. In real life, Brock Lesnar and Curtis Axel are friends. However, Lesnar was a much more popular wrestler than Axel. As such, Curtis didn't receive as many opportunities as Brock, and therefore didn't make as much money. To help fatten his friend's check, Brock Lesnar personally requested that Curtis Axel be included in an action figure pack alongside himself and Stone Cold Steve Austin. The request was fulfilled, and Curtis Axel got a nice payday thanks to his friend. WWE Facts staring you right in the eye. John Cena holds up 3 fingers because of his catchphrase, hustle, loyalty, and respect. It's called a fisherman's suplex because a wrestler hooks their opponent's leg. Matt Hardy's nickname used to be V1, and his signature hand gesture makes the shape of a V and a 1. At WrestleMania 19, Stone Cold Steve Austin wore the letters OMR on his vest. This stood for one more round because this would be Austin's final match for nearly 2 decades. The reason it's called the figure 4 is because the opponent's legs make the shape of the number 4. Sami Zayn's Helluva Kick got its name from saying hell of a kick really fast. WWE Championship belts that only appeared one time. In 2019, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, competed in a title unification match. Their opponents were the Yolo County Tag Team Champs, who had belts made of cardboard. Heavy Machinery ended up fighting and defeating the Yolo Tag Champions, but the belts never reappeared. Before Andre the Giant fought Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3 for the WWE title, the company created a giant version of the WWE Championship. The belt was custom made to fit Andre and had an 80-inch girth. However, since Andre lost the match, the belt was not needed. After winning the Greatest Royal Rumble, Braun Strowman was not only gifted a giant trophy, but also a special championship belt. However, the belt was just a symbolic gesture, and Braun wouldn't ever defend it. What would happen if a female wrestler low-blowed another female wrestler? We all know that when a male wrestler gets hit below the belt, it's an automatic disqualification. However, what about female wrestlers? Well, after decades of mystery, we finally got an answer. Why did WWE change its steel cage? In the 80s and 90s, WWE used a big blue cage, which was different from most wrestling companies at the time, which used cages made out of chain-linked panels. The reason WWE used the blue cage instead of the chain-linked was to make it easier for the fans to see the action. It also made it look more like a spectacle, but the big blue cage had some drawbacks. The cage had no give, so if a wrestler was slammed into it, it could really hurt them. The cage was also harder to set up since it was so big and heavy. Eventually, in the late 90s, WWE ditched the big blue cage and started using chain-linked cages. This not only was safer for the wrestlers and easier for the production crew, but also helped make the wrestlers stand out while inside it. WWE facts that will blow your mind. Vince McMahon's birth name is actually Vinnie Lupton. Sasha Banks is a 5-time Raw Women's Champion. However, Seth Rollins has had more successful Raw Women's title defenses than Sasha because of a mixed tag team match where both his title and Becky Lynch's were on the line. Both Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels had their final WrestleMania match the same year, 2010. Kevin Nash won the WWE Championship once, but won the WCW World title 5 times. Despite that, Nash was WWE Champion for 268 more days than he was WCW Champion. The Rock defeated Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18 in 2002 in what was a passing of the torch. However, after the match, Hogan has wrestled 8 more WWE matches than The Rock has. When Brock Lesnar made his WWE debut, his finisher was the F5. However, this was not Brock's first finishing move. Before debuting, Brock Lesnar was still experimenting with different moves to see what fit him best. This included Lesnar using a dropkick at one point. However, to finish off his opponents, Brock originally used a running power slam. WWE talent who tried out for a different position than the one they got. Samantha Irvine attended a wrestler tryout after Mark Henry took notice of her. While WWE didn't hire her to be a wrestler, they saw Samantha's passion and offered her a job as a ring announcer. Alexa Bliss's first on-screen role was as a ring announcer. However, after one show, she never returned to ring announcing and became a wrestler. Jessica Carr spent several years as an independent wrestler before attending a WWE tryout in 2017. While there, William Regal asked her if she wanted to be a referee, to which Carr answered yes. Nick Aldis started out as a backstage producer for WWE, but then got promoted to SmackDown General Manager. WWE Mandela Facts. Kurt Angle's submission finisher was never called the angle lock. It was always just the ankle lock.
Ankle lock! That's it! Angle with the ankle lock! The ankle lock is locked in!
Despite its popularity, The Rock's custom Brahma Bull Championship belt never actually appeared on WWE TV. Sheamus, Hardcore Holly, and X-Pac never once held the Intercontinental Championship. Mr. Perfect's real name is Kurt Hennig, except it's actually spelled like this with no N. Jim Ross said one of his most famous lines when Kane debuted in 1997, only it wasn't actually Jim Ross who said it.
That's gotta be Kane! That's gotta be Kane!
What happened to John Cena's elbow? This is a condition called olecranon bursitis. What happens is a small fluid sac near the elbow called bursitis becomes irritated or inflamed and fills with extra fluid. For wrestlers, this often comes as a result of hitting the ring mat with their elbows repeatedly. Other wrestlers who have suffered from this include Sami Zayn and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Wrestling facts that are hilarious in hindsight. Seth Rollins was wrestling his final independent match before signing with WWE, and fans chanted "Future Jobber" at him. Before trying out with WWE, Batista tried to get signed by their rival, WCW. However, the WCW trainers turned him down and told Batista he would never make it in wrestling. Macho Man Randy Savage was forced to become a commentator because Vince McMahon thought he was too old to wrestle at age 41. In 2024, Damian Priest won the World Heavyweight Championship at the age of 41. Fritz von Erich agreed to train a wrestler named Mark Calloway because he reminded Fritz of Fritz's dead son, David. Mark Calloway would eventually become an undead wrestler named The Undertaker. In the mid-90s, Too Cold Scorpio and Road Warrior Hawk got into a real fight and became enemies. It got so bad that Scorpio was planning on killing Hawk, but another wrestler talked Scorpio out of it. The wrestler that talked Too Cold out of killing Hawk was Chris Benoit. This watch made Cody Rhodes burst into tears. When he was a teenager, Cody Rhodes wanted to attend acting school. Cody's father, Dusty Rhodes, didn't have much money, so he sold his watch in order for his son to pursue his dream. Almost 20 years later, Cody Rhodes won the main event of WrestleMania and became the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. After the show, Triple H and Nick Khan gave the new champ a special gift. The gift was the watch Cody's late father had given him 2 decades ago. The tears flowing from Cody's eyes show just how much it meant to him. Wrestlers fight for belts when most of them don't even have pants. WWE shower thoughts. What if Sheamus is the only one with normal skin and everyone else is just super tan? No disqualification matches could be over in seconds if one of the wrestlers just brought a gun. Kane could have won a lot more matches if he just summoned his pyro when his opponent was on the top rope. Why don't WWE referees ask to see a replay when a wrestler accuses their opponent of cheating? WWE video games are considered an esport, but WWE in real life is considered entertainment. R-Truth has had more championship wins than any wrestler in WWE history. Why don't wrestlers just stop running when they get whipped into the ropes? Michael Cole has fewer WrestleMania losses than The Undertaker. who is allowed to use WWE's private jet. Most WWE wrestlers and personnel will use commercial flights that are open to the public. Sometimes, like when WWE is doing an overseas tour, the company will hire a charter plane to transport everyone. WWE's private jet is mainly reserved for high-ranking executives, like Triple H. One of the reasons is that the plane includes office space so passengers can work while flying. A few rare times, wrestlers have been allowed to fly in the private jet. After winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 31, Seth Rollins flew in the jet to make media appearances the next day. Roman Reigns and Charlotte Flair likewise have used the plane for similar reasons. If you feel cheap, then watch this. In 2008, WWE hosted the Night of Champions pay-per-view. The gimmick of the show was that every championship was defended. Keeping with the theme, the set had banners with pictures of the WWE titles. However, for the ECW championship, rather than using a picture of the actual belt, WWE just wrote ECW World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion over a picture of the defunct Cruiserweight Championship. What is WWE's stock price again? In 2004, Triple H went from looking like this to looking like this. What happened? Allegedly, the game, like a lot of WWE wrestlers, was using steroids to give himself an amazing physique. However, there was a period of time when he stopped using them, which is why he looked like this. Triple H did eventually regain his original body, so why did he briefly stop using steroids? At the time, the game and his wife, Stephanie McMahon, wanted a child. Steroids disrupt a man's hormonal balance and reduce sperm production, making it harder to have a baby. People speculate this is the reason for Triple H's body change. WWE has long been accused of prioritizing wrestlers' physiques over other talented skills. Critics argue this is why so many of WWE's biggest stars have amazing bodies. Of course, the company likes pushing talent with good physiques, but there's more to it. A good body takes a lot of hard work and sacrifice to achieve and maintain. Being a top star for WWE also requires hard work and sacrifice, as wrestlers have to deal with pain, stress, and spend time away from their homes and family. Maintaining a good physique shows that a wrestler has the determination required to be a main event WWE star. This is the saddest sign ever brought to a WWE show. In 2014, The Undertaker was set to have his 22nd match at WrestleMania. His opponent that night was Brock Lesnar, and while Brock was a formidable opponent, fans were pretty confident that Undertaker would win and continue his undefeated streak. In one of the biggest upsets in WWE history, Lesnar won, ending Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, which is now 21-1. After the show, a sign was found outside the arena that said 22-0.
That is it for the video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel and let me know what else you want to see.